Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Andy back again from the underground, and today we're taking a look at the Tip Bar Guy Slant Stack. We're going to be reviewing it for my use cases, specifically how it's been holding up over time, and talk about what I like and what I don't like. And just a quick disclaimer right off the bat, the Tip Bar Guy did send me these free of charge. However, when I review things, I like to hold on to them and use them long term. For example, I still have the Nordic Back Extension V2. I still use that on a weekly basis, and I think it's actually a pretty good piece for what it is. And when the Tip Bar Guy actually reached out to me to review this product, I was thinking of things I could actually do with these blocks, as I'm not really into all of the functional and mobility training in terms of using the slant stack. However, I thought of using these as deadlift blocks as well as using them for deficit deadlifts. So I'm going to be showing you block pulls as well as deficit deadlifts in this video. And later in this video, I'm going to show you a comparison of the DC blocks versus the slant stack. And the slant stack actually holds up pretty well. As you can see here, the ab mat crash cushions, they don't really fit on the slant stack. In terms of the slant stack itself, you do have to put the grip tape on top of it. It was pretty easy. Just make sure your slant stack is clear of any dust or debris, and then remove the backing. I use this piece of cardboard to kind of push down the grip tape to make sure all of the parts of the grip tape holds down to the slant stack itself. And then I left some weights overnight on top of the slant stack, so then the next day it will be good to go for the grip tape. The Tip Bar Guy did send me a bunch of resistant bands for their resistance band set. I already have a whole bunch of different bands from Serious Steel and Elite FTS, and these are basically the same. They hold up pretty well. They have the nice weight increments on them labeled, so you kind of know how much weight you're getting from each of these bands when using them. So one nice thing with the slant stack over the original DC blocks is that they have this handle portion that you can actually use bands with on the slant stack. So for example, you could do squats like banded squats with the slant stack and just put them under. You could do some bicep curls, single arm curls. You could do a whole multitude of different exercises with bands as long as you stand on top of the slant stack so it doesn't go anywhere. And I'm not too sure about the longevity of the slant stack, but the blocks itself and the slant stack, they seem to hold up well for over the past month and a half since I've had it. And it gets the job done. If you ever have any issues, reach out to the Tip Bar Guy. They're pretty responsive in terms of their marketing as well as their support. So if you have any questions about them, be sure to reach out, and I'm sure they will get you situated. And for myself in particular, when standing on the slant stack as well as these blocks, it feels pretty stable to me. However, I would wear some grippier shoes if you are planning to do any work on the slant stack. Okay, and getting into the lifting portion, so for the deficit deadlifts, they work pretty well. However, if you stand a little bit wider than myself, this is my conventional stance, I would say use 2 blocks instead of just 1 as I'm doing here. And getting into the block pulls, I did set up 3 blocks on each side. And here you see me dropping competition calibrated plates onto these blocks, and it holds up pretty well. I would say one thing is you could see there's like a little bounce with the slant stack. I don't think the blocks will come apart as I'm going through this, but that is something to be wary of. And be sure not to be rolling the bar around too fast on these blocks, as it probably will fall off. Here's 375 dropped onto the blocks, and it holds up pretty well. There's no dents or any abrasions on the slant stack itself. However, I do recommend using bumper plates if you are planning to do this as well. Using your bumper plates, it'll probably just hold up better over time instead of using actual competition calibrated plates like I'm using here. And here's the back portion of the slant stack after dropping the weights on them. Okay, and getting into the Tip Bar Guy versus the DC block, the Usable top space for the slant stack is 16 by 15 inches and the DC block is 17 by 15.5 inches. They don't work interchangeably with each other. That would be really cool if they did. The slant stack one weighs 4.5 pounds and the DC block weighs 10.7 pounds for one. The DC block is much denser and is made for Olympic weightlifting and dropping your plates on them, whereas the slant stack, I'm just using it for the same purpose. However, I don't think it's made for what I'm doing with them. Both blocks give about 2 inches in height, and the slant stack is rated for 1,200 pounds of weight. And that's gonna about do it for this video today. There's probably gonna be a big Black Friday sale soon for the tip bar guy. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Be sure you like and subscribe. As always, thank you so much for watching. Holla back at your boy. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.